We have learned the last year of this whole pandemic and everything like that. We have learned something that we took for granted. Again, we took for granted every day of the week in this country and in other countries in the Western world. And that's the freedom to move, freedom to to speak, to to go to business, freedom to basically do anything really, because basically everything was hampered. Basically all your freedoms were really just thrown in the bin for a year, with lockdowns and things like that. And we don't value, and that's to be totally honest, we don't value our freedom. And and it's good to see that people realize that the freedom's gone, and to know that you don't feel like the freedom is gone and that the freedoms have been limited. Because before that, people took it for granted, the freedom, because that freedom to do everything was basically that's what democracy's all about, and that's what life's all about. Is freedom. Your freedom to do what you want. Your freedom to not have the government say you what to do. Obviously within the boundaries of the law, obviously. But the freedom to be human, to be alive, basically. Because without freedom, you're nothing really. You're basically just an entity. Like in China, just for example, you're just nothing. Basically, you're nothing without the Communist Party. And that's what communism is all about. It's just about dumbing down people, subjugating people. If you may even use that to make them not even human. They have no identity or anything like that. When you have freedom, you have your identity, you have your people, you have your beliefs, you have different things, and that's something we have. I suppose for the last few years since the probably Second World War, we have kind of forgotten that freedom was hard fought for, and that's the thing that we don't look too much on in this country. We should look more on it because it was hard fought for, especially in this country. It was hard fought for. Like you could take it like back at the rebellions in Wexford, way back in the 1800s. Then you obviously have the rise, and you have many other rebellions across the century in Ireland, and you have the War of Independence. Many people sacrificed their lives, everything they had, to hope that someday a nation might be born, a nation might be free, that people might have a choice in their own governments. And we never should forget that, and that's the thing we shouldn't forget, that through every boat of freedom, as they use in America, comes a huge sacrifice. And we can't take that for granted because people sacrifice themselves. So we could be free, and we could choose, and we could decide for ourselves what's best for ourselves and best for our nation. And the one thing it's taught me, I suppose, and I did underestimate my freedoms and things like that before the pandemic. Like take for example, your freedom to move, your freedom to live, your freedom to walk, your freedom to get an education. All these freedoms, you take for granted. You do take for granted. I often said to myself, wishing I never went to school and that I rather stay at home, or walk on the road or whatever. I would rather be out in the fresh air than in school. But again, you have to take you have the freedom to. I had the freedom to leave if I wanted to, and there was nobody going to stop me until I was 18 too, so they would have probably come knocking. And we wouldn't want that. We wouldn't want too slow and would we? But you know what I'm saying. And it's something like you have to take for granted too, that in other countries, like take for example in China, imagine being in a school in China. Just listen to shite about the Communist Party, just talking about shite and shite and shite. And talking absolutely shite. I can't explain how much shite would be just talked about in that shite schools in China, in that communist hellhole. But yeah, just indoctrination camps, in other words. Propaganda, just endless propaganda, something like OT, but anyway, a bit actually OT would be probably better off in China, to be honest. We get, but I don't even think the Chinese media could be as bad as OT, but anyway. But yeah, we have to value our freedom. That's the bottom line here. That's really what I'm trying to say here. Without the long speech and everything like that. But at the bottom line of it, we have to value every bit of freedom. And as a person, again, every decade, freedom is at the burst of being extinct in every country. Because eventually, there will be governments because to get too power happy, and that's the word we have to use, to get too power happy. and they do limit people's freedoms. And freedom's only one decade away, being taken away from people. And we all know that. We see that every day of the week. We've seen it happen in countries. The people's freedoms are no more. And basically, and your freedom really is your way of life, and it's your way of in being a human. Again, I don't believe if you live in a communist dictatorship like China or North Korea, other countries like that, you have no freedom. You have no freedom, so you're basically nothing. You're basically nothing without your freedom, because you're basically just a drone. You're basically just being led down the garden path and told where to go and not to answer who to talk to, what to say, this, that, X, Y, and Z. I'm sure you get what I'm saying. But again, I say this straight to people, never underestimate your freedom. Never take it for granted, and never forget where it came from. Because huge sacrifice was made to get your freedom. And it can be easily taken away. And that's something that's shown during COVID. That your freedoms are not given by God. Well, they should be given by God. But man can take it away. That's all I say. Thank you.